Grade 10 learners, this is just the continuation of the topic finding the sum of the terms of a given arithmetic sequence. In this topic, the students are expected to find the sum of the terms of a given arithmetic sequence. Remember, the sum of all terms of an arithmetic sequence is called as arithmetic series. In order to find the sum of all the terms of an arithmetic sequence, there are two formulas. Number 1, for finite arithmetic sequence with a sub 1 and last term, we will use s sub n equals n quantity a sub 1 plus a sub n divided by 2. Number 2, for infinite arithmetic sequence with no given last term, we will use s sub n equals n quantity 2a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d divided by 2. In the previous lesson, we discussed different cases in solving problems involving arithmetic series. The first case is finding the sum of all the terms of an arithmetic sequence. Second case is finding a sub 1 and d if the sum of all the terms in an arithmetic sequence is given. Let's have the third case, finding n if the sum of the terms of the arithmetic sequence is given. Number 1. Solve for n in the arithmetic sequence 10, 12, 14, 16, and so on if the sum of all the terms is 190. Here, your a sub 1 is 10, your d is 2 since we are adding 2 from one term to another, and your sum is 190. Since the last term is not given, we will use formula number 2, which is s sub n equals n quantity 2a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d divided by 2. By substituting all the given, 190 equals n quantity 2 times 10 plus n minus 1 times 2 divided by 2. Using cross multiplication, 2 times 190 is 380 equals n times 20. Then distribute 2 to n minus 1, we have positive 2n. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 20 minus 2 is 18. And then distribute 18 and 2n to n outside the parentheses. As a result, 380 equals 18n plus 2n times n is 2n squared. Here, the highest exponent for the variable n is 2. Therefore, the resulting equation should be a quadratic equation. We'll change it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So, we will transpose 380 on the right side of the equation. So, we have 2n squared plus 18n minus 380 equals 0. Dividing all terms by 2, we have n squared plus 9n minus 190 equals 0. But how do we factor quadratic equations if a equals 1? So the resulting equation a while ago is n squared plus 9n minus 190 equals 0. In this case, we will just factor the last term of the quadratic equation, which is negative 190. But negative 190 is a negative product, so meaning the factors can be one negative factor and one positive factor. After getting the factors of negative 190, we will get the sum of each pair of factors. Here are the factors of negative 190 and their corresponding sum. Which of the pair of factors will give a sum of 9, which is the middle term of your quadratic equation? Correct. The factors are negative 10 and positive 19. Going back to our previous solution, we have n squared plus 9n minus 190 equals 0. Factoring it, we have n minus 10 times n plus 19 equals 0. The next step is to equate each factor equals to 0. N minus 10 equals 0 and n plus 19 equals 0. Let us solve for n. N minus 10 equals 0, transpose 10 on the right side of the equation, n equals 10. On the other hand, when we transpose positive 19 on the right side of the equation, our value for n on that is negative 19. But we are getting the number of terms, so we will use positive value. So n equals negative 19 cannot be the value of your n. Therefore, there are 10 terms in the arithmetic sequence 10, 12, 14, 16, and so on if the sum of all the terms is 190. Number 2. If the first n terms of the sequence 5, 2, negative 1, negative 4, negative 7, and so on are added, how many terms give a sum of negative 44? Your a sub 1 here is 5, d is negative 3, and your sum is negative 44. Using again s sub n equals n quantity 2a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d divided by 2, substitute all the given. Negative 44 equals n quantity 2 times 5 plus n minus 1 times negative 3 divided by 2. Then cross multiply and at the same time distribute negative 3 to n minus 1. So we have negative 88 equals n quantity 10 minus 3n plus 3. Why did it becomes positive 3? Because negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Then distribute n to 10 negative 3n plus 3. So we have negative 88 equals 10 plus 3 is 13 times n, that is 13n, minus 3n times n is 3n squared. As you observe, the highest exponent again for n is 2. Therefore, the resulting equation should be a quadratic equation. The first term of any quadratic equation should be positive, so we will transpose negative 3n squared and 13n on the left side of the equation. As a result, we have 3n squared minus 13n minus 88 equals 0. But here, your a is not equals to 1. It is greater than 1. How do we factor quadratic equation with a greater than 1? A while ago, we have the equation 3n squared minus 13n minus 88 equals 0. In number 1 example, we just factor the last term. But here, we will use what we call as AC method, wherein we will multiply the value of a and c. 3 times negative 88 is equal to negative 264. So again, this is a negative product, so one of the factors should be positive and the other one is negative. So by listing all the factors and finding the corresponding sum, we have the following list. And negative 132 with a sum of negative 130. Negative 2 and positive 130 has a sum of 130. 3 and negative 88 has a sum of negative 85. Negative 3 and 88 has a sum of 85. Negative 1 and 264 has a sum of 263. Positive 1 times negative 264 has a sum of negative 263. 4 times negative 66 has a sum of negative 62. Negative 4 and 66 has a sum of positive 62. Here are the other list of factors of negative 264 with their corresponding sum. Which of the following pair of factors has a sum equals to the middle term of your quadratic equation, which is negative 13? Correct. The factors are 11 and negative 24, that when you add, the answer is negative 13, and that is equal to your middle term. We are ready to factor 3n squared minus 13n minus 88 equals 0. Let us factor the first term first. 3n squared has a factor of 3n and n, while negative 88 has factors 11 and negative 24. That when you get the sum, it will give you your middle term, which is negative 13. I have here a technique in order for you to factor it easily. Look at the factors of the first term, 3n squared. We always choose the highest factor, which will be paired with the factors of your last term. So we will choose 3n. So the factors now will be 3n plus 11 and 3n minus 24. And then divide the factors by the numerical coefficient of your first term, which is 3. Which of the factors in the numerator is divisible by 3? That's right. 3n minus 24 is divisible by 3. If we will divide 3n minus 24 by 3, we will get n minus 8. Therefore, the factors of 3n squared minus 13n minus 88 is 3n plus 11 times n minus 8. Simplifying now, 3n squared minus 13n minus 88 equals 0 into the equation of its factors, we have 3n plus 11 times n minus 8 equals 0. Going back into our solution in number 2, 3n squared minus 13n minus 88 equals 0 is now simplified as 3n plus 11 times n minus 8 equals 0. Let us equate both factors equals to 0. So we have 3n plus 11 equals 0 and n minus 8 equals 0. Let us solve for n. Let us start with 3n plus 11 equals 0. Transpose 11, so we have 3n equals negative 11. Then divide both sides by 3. So we have n equals negative 11 over 3. On the other hand, n minus 8 equals 0. Transpose 8 on the right side of the equation, n equals 8. When we are talking of the number of terms, we always use positive value. So we will not use n equals negative 11 over 3. There are 8 terms in the arithmetic sequence: 5, 2, negative 1, negative 4, negative 7, and so on, with a sub 1 equals to 5 and a sum of negative 44.